welcome to Sivappu Devils. In this video, we're going to talk about United's season thus far and how the team under Ole has performed. And in this series of videos, this video is specifically going to focus on the signings that we have done thus far, with our 3 signings in the summer and our 2 signings in the winter break. So why don't we get onto the show, Nishit?
Yeah. So before we go ahead, for the benefit of the viewers, so we're going to obviously have a scale in the end. That's when everybody can get a proper perspective of the opinion that we share. So we're going to have like a color kind of a scaling. So we're going to have like white, which is the wrong side of the scale, where players have underperformed, not performed to the expectation, performed badly, doesn't look like they're going to improve. So that's going to be the white side. We have the opposite side, which is the red, where players have overperformed or performed right up to the expectations of what fans are looking for. Great players, looks great going forward, looks great over the future. And then obviously, in India, we have the pink pasta, which is a mix of the white and the red. So we have somebody who's the average, who can improve further, who's performed well, but could improve further. So that's the scale that we're going to talk about in the video. So let's get on with it.
The first signing that we had this summer was of Wan Bissaka, that we had bought for about 50 million. And he's
the spider.
Yeah, Nishit, why don't you let's spend a few minutes talking about him.
If the player got the nickname Spider, it should say everything about the player, right?
Right.
That guy is a phenomenal signing. I don't think I expected so much defensively, at least from Arjun Nishit. I thought he'd take time to settle in, but boy, he's been crazy, right? His tackling, I think Raheem Sterling is still.
Yeah, I'm sure Raheem Sterling is still complaining to a few people, saying that Wan Bissaka is not maintaining social distancing with him, right? Oh man, those couple of games, he was absolutely phenomenal. Pocketed Raheem Sterling like nobody's business. Absolutely. He was letting him go past him and just tackling him for fun.
I was reading about him, and apparently at one point of the season, a man had the best tackles per game ratio for a United player or overall in the last 13 seasons.
Wow.
And that's not even that's not even played like one season fully.
Right.
Amazing.
We still haven't completed the whole season, right? He's been absolutely phenomenal. He's probably been one of the reasons why our season, or rather our defense, has become so much better, and we've actually gone past our clean sheets tally better than what we did last year. Last year we had about 7 clean sheets the whole season.
That's because of the form recently. I think after the 2020. Yeah.
Right. So,
but I think
and I'm sure
the only complaint is about, I think, his going forward. I think that's where I think he's coming to age, like you can say, in the month of March. He got in and he's getting that cross in that Chelsea game was mad.
Very
to Martial with that super header.
Who knew Martial could score headers, right? he's actually been So let's getting back to Wan Bissaka. But see, I kind of understand why he has not been too good going forward. He came from Crystal Palace, where he had to defend more than he had to attack. So it is something that he's probably just growing with his role at United. He's probably doing better. But this also brings about a good balance in the side when you think about Luke Shaw and or Brandon Williams on the left, who are far more attacking, and they tend to go forward quite a bit more than your Wan Bissaka. He can hold back a little better, so that also brings about.
But only when they play the back 3, that's when the problem is, right?
That's exactly.
We need
The weakness is shown far more.
Well, I think he's coming of age. That's what I told. I mean, in the last 2 months, he's been doing pretty well up front. I think probably Ole, being the classic striker, he wants him to cross that ball.
I'm
sure they're working on that, and I think he will do better coming in the next season for sure. But I think his stats are pretty crazy. Has the highest tackles per game in the team. Interceptions. He's got super one-on-one is like Nothing.
I don't think there's anybody better in the league. I'm going to say it. There's nobody better in the league.
Yeah. So
I can even go as far as saying probably nobody in Europe as well. To a very large extent, I can think of who's probably as good as he is.
With TA, like Trent will come up, and obviously Trent is amazing.
Trent is Trent,
and that's
right,
why he's going to definitely get the piece of cake. But I think defense-wise, he's
if you're looking for a defensive,
50%. Yeah, right, even if he's going 50% up to the game in terms of attack, I think he would be much.
He'd probably be picked over Trent in the English squad.
Yeah, but I think
in the playing 11.
Choice to. I mean, they've got super depth. England's got like a crazy depth.
Yeah, very good depth. Yeah.
So let's go into the rating.
Sure. I'm definitely going for the red.
I think there's
because he's been. There's. I mean, nobody's going to argue because he's been absolutely phenomenal, and he's pretty much done what he was asked to do, which is defending first and then attacking, right? Which he's done phenomenally. So Nishit, what about you? Yeah, you'd go for the red as well.
Of course, I think beat me up.
Right. Right. I'm sure. Right. Okay. Moving on to our next player, which is Harry Maguire. There was quite a bit spoken about him being the most expensive, centre back in the world and all of that, coming in and moving from a team like Leicester, which is let's be honest, it's not a big club, not as big as United is, and having to deal with the pressure. I mean, league standings is one thing, but I'm talking about the stature of the club, the sheer number of fans, and the amount of pressure that he would have to feel stepping onto the pitch every week in front of 70,000 fans at Old Trafford is definitely far more tedious task than probably stepping on the pitch wearing the Leicester shirt.
I think his season can be like put into. I think he was slow to start off. I think the weight of the badge, the signing, the value which you for the pressure, it took a toll a little bit. But I think after he got the captain's armband, I think he took off, and
I think he was
it just went up like crazy.
Right. I think he started performing really well just before he got the captain's armband.
That's why he got it off.
Yeah, that's probably the reason why he's and this is something that we don't know, right? What happens on the training ground and what happens inside the dressing room. Probably he's shown really good leadership skills, and he's been really good. He's come of age, and he's come of he's rather fit into his role and that stature of. I think more than anything, the pressure of him being the most expensive centre back in the world has slowly died down on him with the season going forward, and that has slowly slipped to the back of him, and he's able to play more naturally.
And he's a massive player. I mean, I'm talking about sheer size. That's what Ole mentioned when he the first release. When he was signing the player. And I think the stats now show pretty much what. I mean, the whole why did we sign him for? That is presence in the box. He's dominant. He's been dominant in the last 4 months. I think in the City games, I don't think anybody can win an aerial duel, and that I think shows by the stat also. He's won 4.75 aerial duels per game, which is like more than double of the next guy in our team, Lindelof, with just 2.
I mean, considering Lindelof is really poor in the air. Which is probably his biggest issue. Probably being strong and being in the air, controlling the airspace in front of him is probably
also very good on the ball.
Biggest issue. Yeah. I mean, he's called Slabhead for a reason. He's got that massive head on him, and he's a big guy. He can. We saw with his goal from the corner that he scored about against Chelsea. From the corner. So apparently, from what I heard, was just before the game, he had texted one of his brothers and his brother, and he told him that he told his brother saying that I'm going to score this game. Watch out, and Bruno delivered that perfect cross onto him, and he ran in and scored that header.
He needed for like a long time.
Right. Hopefully those are signs to come, because we've been absolutely poor over the last 2-3 seasons with our corners, and we've been absolutely we've not been productive with them.
You can call the white or even less than the white in terms of rating of the set pieces.
Right.
But I think Maguire has been good. Maguire has been
so
good.
what would you rate him? What would you rate him?
I think just based on the last, I would say a pink actually. I would still say a pink.
Yeah.
Over the last 3 months, he's been on the red, but hopefully, if he's staying this consistent over the next season, I'm sure he's going to overperform, and finally value the worth which we bought him for. So
Right. I'd probably go in for the pink as well, since we have a very very limited scale. It's either a white or a pink or a red. I'm going for a pink. But if you have to give me a little allowance, I would probably say he's in between the pink and the red, slightly skewed towards the pink. He's been very good. He's been very good. He's shown some really promising signs. So
who do we have on our list?
And next on our list is Dan James. Mr. Flash of our team.
That guy, when he walked into the team, I thought he bossed it. Like
nobody expected him to play the sheer number of games he did, considering he just came in from the championship, and the value that he was bought for. Nobody really expected him to play the number of games, but he came in and he had a dream start, scoring that goal against Chelsea in his first game. Right after his father's death and all of that,
and that celebration
was really emotional. That celebration probably just summed up everything. You could see all of the emotions just come out of him, gush out of him completely.
Of course, he's
been really good.
But obviously he overperformed, and he came back to the we were expecting him to, and now he's improving on his game. I think.
I think that's the problem, right? That's the problem with him. He started off really, really good, and then he hit probably let's call it his level. He probably hit the level that he's usually played at, which caused a lot of backlash from a lot of the fans, saying that he's not good and he's really, really bad. But coming to think of it, he's what 15 million, 18 million signing that we made from the championship, and he's really, really young. So thinking about that, he's actually performed quite well. If you have to give him a rating, what would you rate him, Nishit?
So, before definitely going into the rating,
sure.
Talking a little bit about his stats again, he's got 6 assists, which is actually good for the first season. 4 goals also in the kitty. For a young player who probably wouldn't have expected to start as much as he did in his first season, and that's probably down to injuries, and that's why Ole was forced to play him. And the lack of that, probably where he got burnt out a bit through the middle of the season. But I think off late he's come back, and he's shown that game against City where he ran till the last minute.
Man, he probably ran the most and had the most amount of pace.
That way. But of course, I think his goals will improve. I think for sure his goals will improve.
He will.
I see him as that goal scorer, the guy who's going to break the game. The deadlock.
Right.
So he's that.
Comes on and becomes that difference maker, much like how Ole was. And I'm sure Ole being there with him will definitely help him, considering the sheer lack of size that he has, which is exactly how Ole was as well. But nevertheless, had a great impact every time.
He'll improve on the grounds of intelligence. I think with Bruno coming into play, he's going to definitely make more and better runs.
More than better runs, at least he knows that now if he makes a run, then there is somebody with the quality to make those passes, with Bruno and Pogba being there. You know for a fact that, if somebody is going to make a run, because let's be honest, until Bruno came on and Pogba missing the whole of the season, I'm sure the forwards felt really frustrated with the number of runs that they kept making and not being found. They would have probably given up halfway through the season, saying, "Okay, there's no point in me wasting my energy in trying to run when I know that nobody's going to find me and find me the perfect weighted pass." So I mean that
So I
way.
think since you mentioned Pogba, I think probably in the next part of the video, which is going to cover, we're going to talk about the entire team as such. Pogba's got some interesting statistics all through the season. It's crazy that if you hear
considering the sheer
the amount of games he played.
I mean,
we'll talk about it in
number
the
of
next
games.
video.
Anyway, so
James, what about the final rating for him?
You know what? Considering that he's from the championship and he didn't have Premier League experience, and the value that we signed him for, I'm going to give him a red, because when you consider what he was bought for and what he has done, he has exceeded expectations, and the red is basically exceeding expectations, which he's done.
I would go for red as well. I would definitely go for the red as well. I think he's overperformed. We've seen him at his highs, and I'm sure we can see him back at those highs. So I'm sure he'll do.
Right.
So next one.
Yeah, next is Bruno Fernandes. I'm sure both of us are like,
we know what the rating. I think everybody knows what the rating is in the end. You don't have to. But I think
we don't have to. I mean, he's been that breath of fresh air that has come into the team. You know, when we were completely stuck with injuries and the morale being completely low and everybody just being so confused about where our season's going forward, and there were so many question marks about Oli and all of that. Bruno came in and just picked the team up with nothing but his sheer charisma and his passion, and just drove the team into where we are right now, which is in such a comfortable position. And he's you can see with the amount of tackles that he's putting in, the number of passes. So he gets the ball, he doesn't look anywhere else other than look forward first, which is something that we have failed to do in so long, because half of the time our midfielders are picking up the ball, they're looking sideways to pass sideways and then try to move through the wings. Here the first thing he's looking forward is looking up and looking forward at the attackers to see if they're making a run. And now the attackers are able to make those runs because they know that there's somebody to make those passes. You know, going back to my previous point.
One of my happiest, or probably the most satisfying part of the Bruno transfer and the Bruno playing into United is that Mata started enjoying his game again. You see him in those games Mata played with Bruno. I think Mata was really, really enjoying himself. And he had that link-up play. You know, you can see that he's got such an intelligent player playing around, and I think the entire team is benefiting out of this. Bruno's clever, intelligent. He takes up great positions. I think he just knows where to pass. And also takes the risk. Obviously, you can probably have a negative stat saying that he lost the ball quite a bit.
See, it's
but
fine.
I think that's okay. That's something to be overlooked.
See, to be honest, he's played more at a 10 rather than an 8, which he usually plays. So it's fine when you're playing at a 10. It is okay to lose the ball. It's completely fine, because when he tries 5 passes, if one cuts through and goes perfect, you're going to get a goal. You know, so it's fine if a number 10 loses the ball quite a bit. At least it shows that he's trying. If a number 10 has really bad stats where his chances created are also bad, and the number of positions he's lost is also bad, then he's not had an effective game. So him losing the ball is completely fine. I think
chances created per game stat. Bruno is probably second round club. So he's taken it by the sleeve, and
considering the number of games that he's played.
Yeah, I think 4 goals and 5 assists is being crazy. On set pieces, we just look so much stronger now. We're always a threat. So I think Bruno changed he's brought that life. And I think
he's
as a red,
we
are more confident now.
Than ever. Right. So rating, both of us are going for a red.
Anything about
right. Okay, moving on to our next player, who's Odion Ighalo, who's another player who's absolutely brought in that energy up, and who's if we could sign him on a permanent deal until how long, I'd love to sign him, just because just look at the man on Instagram. He's just sharing pictures after pictures of him from random fans wishing him luck. You can see the amount of passion and the amount of love that he has for United, which is definitely something that people in the dressing room will look at and will get inspired. So that way he's and remember that last goal that he scored for us against
the Europa League.
Astana? No, not Astana. It was I seem to forget. It's been a while. It's been a while since we saw football.
Was it the Austrian team? I think it was the Austrian.
Yeah. So where he juggled the ball in the air and then he took a shot with his left. Oh, yeah, phenomenal. He's been really good actually, considering where he's come from,
But of course,
and his age.
Like I would definitely, I was fairly confident when everybody was, tearing into the whole transfer when we were about to sign him. I was fairly confident he'll perform. But for me, the only issue is that will it be something like what Ole had last season when he had that purple patch, and then once we signed him on permanent, he had that patch where
Sanchez, you mean? Sanchez, you mean?
I'm talking about Ole's run, the winning run. We were all over the moon. Then we signed him on a permanent deal, and then obviously he tanked off a little bit. Now he's performing well, obviously. But I'm saying something like Ighalo would be the same thing. What if we sign him on permanent and he doesn't perform?
See, that's the thing, right? Why I'm saying that's also fine is because he's not going to be he's not a mainstay striker. We're going to have Martial, and then we're going to have Greenwood behind him, and then we have Odion Ighalo. Ighalo is going to be
Rashford.
Rashford's playing off the left, right? Rashford's playing off the left. So let's say we supposedly we sign Sancho, and then you have your Dan James on the right to cover for him, and if one of them is injured, then Greenwood can fill in on the right. So Ighalo is going to be a number 3.
Ighalo brings the presence into the team. I think he's got that hold-up ability much better than I think any of the strikers which we have. As fresh as well.
All right. So what would you rate him?
Definitely red, for sure.
Red? Yeah. He's been good. Nah, I'd give him a red too.
So I think the signings which Ole did have definitely made a positive impact. So overall signing rating would be probably a red too.
A red, for sure. Probably just barring Maguire who got a pink. Everybody else has gotten a red. Which basically means after ages, United have actually done really well in the transfer window, and we've signed some players who've actually impacted the team. Right. So moving on to the second part. Yeah, the second part is we're going to talk about the players who've come from the academy, who've broken into the main team, main squad this year, and who've actually done, who've had more than about 5 games in the season, with an honorable mention for Livid and probably Ghana. Okay.